One of the great treasures of our American democracy is our public schools, especially this school, Elgin High School. If this is not the Elgin High School that you attended, then I think most of us still feel that Elgin High School is maybe a little less of a place than it is an idea, a belief in education for all, a place that is uniquely welcoming and encouraging for people to find their way in life. So thank you. I welcome you, the people of Elgin High School, to this fourth location of Elgin High School. Would you please stand? I invite you, as you're able to stand. Gentlemen, if you would remove your caps. We're going to post the colors here today. And I'd like to, as our veterans, all Elgin High School graduates, present the colors to briefly note their name and their branch of military service and their year of graduation. I will then, after the colors are posted, lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. United States Air Force, Richard Hamilton, class of 1966. United States Army, Roy Parker, class of 1966. United States Army, Rose Martinez, class of 1978. Please give your direction and attention to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I hope you all received a program and a music program as you came into the auditorium today. If you didn't, you're welcome to get one on your way out. There's a lot of good thinking that you can do about the program that we're about to continue. You may have been watching the scrolling pictures over here that take little 30-year looks at the history of Elgin High School as a place. The last slide that shows up in that looping presentation is of the oldest known still living graduate of Elgin High School, Alice Meager, who lives in Bartlett. We invited her at age 107 to see if she could make it today. She graduated in the class of 1929. That's Alice in her yearbook picture. And Norma, who many of you got to know during our year of celebration, is down here by the podium. She's a graduate of the class of 1919 and really has been our mascot throughout this school year. There's more on our website, elgin150.com. The wife of Principal O'Neill just submitted the story, memories of her husband as principal here. That just is the last thing that we loaded today. And the presentation that we're doing right now is also going to be available to watch again and share with friends that perhaps were not able to make it here today, so that they can enjoy thinking about Elgin High School once again. I'd like to introduce our first speaker today, and I'm really glad that he's able to celebrate this time with us. We used to call them our superintendents, and if that was still the title, Mr. Tony Sanders would be our, as I counted, 21st superintendent of School District U46. I must say that one of the things I most appreciate about him, besides his quick interest in listening to staff and students, is that he lives in Elgin and that his children attend district schools. And I so appreciate that level of just authentic engagement in our community. We welcome you to Elgin High School, Mr. Sanders.
It is an honor to be here today. When John called me up, he asked me if I would give a year-over-year history of Elgin High School, and then conclude by reading the names of every Elgin High School graduate. So I hope you brought water. If you need facilities, they're right outside the hallway to the right, and we'll be here for about another 3 or 4 hours. No, seriously, it is my honor and privilege to be here with you today. It's an honor and privilege, actually, to have my children in School District U46, the district that brought me here because I wanted my students in U46. The history of Elgin High School is not just obviously historic, it's also very tenacious. This school has a history of tenacity, and one that we continue to hold true in U46 today. In fact, it was the prestige of Elgin High School that led so many other communities to want to join this community and send their kids to the Elgin High School that eventually led to School District U46. We're proud in U46 to continue to use the mantra academic success for all, which has its roots in Elgin history when the school was founded, and used the motto educational success for all. As a district, we are still tenacious. Our 42 elementary schools, our 8 middle schools, our 5 high schools worked alongside administration in fighting for a change in the way that the state funds public education. As a result of that fight, today as I stand before you, we just purchased another 12,000 laptops that will be deployed across our schools next year, so that every kid in grades 5th through 12th will have a device. Isn't that amazing? We are one of the few districts in the country that is offering dual language grades kindergarten through high school, which is truly amazing. Truly amazing for any school district to pull off. We now offer full-day kindergarten, and we're doing more and more on behalf of the students of the original Elgin Public Schools. As you are here and the goodwill is flowing, I would ask you to consider a couple of things. Outside of the auditorium, there's a booth for the U46 Educational Foundation. I'm going to ask you to consider, as you walk out of here today, making a donation to the foundation, or to the Elgin High School Booster Club, which is the oldest booster club in the state of Illinois, or to the Elgin High School Friends of the Music as you enjoy these wonderful student performers today. Thank you, and welcome back to Elgin High School.
Next, I'd like to recognize and welcome to the platform Elgin High School's principal, by my count, our 26th, and also by my count, I believe, our 3rd female principal at Elgin High School, Crystal Thomas.
Hello again, welcome back home. I just want to say this has been an amazing experience, and we've had so many people involved in making this day a reality. So I just want to first of all say a thank you to them. Next, I would like to welcome some of our special guests. Ms. Elsa Hernandez is here from Representative Moeller's office, so thank you very much. We also have a NASA expert in the house, Mr. Hal Giselman. Please raise your hand. Jerry Turnquest is with us today. He's part of the amazing class who is giving a special, we'll see that a little later. They have a special treat in store for us, along with Ms. Fortner and Melissa Creighton. We're also in for a special treat led by our band director, Robert Sanchez, and our amazing EHS band. Let's give it up for them. We also have our EHS choir director, Megan, and our amazing choir. And they'll gift us with their singing ability, so we're really excited about that. Now let's see who's in the room. All EHS alumni, please stand. All right. If you were class of anywhere representing 1950s, raise your hand. 1950s. All right. You may be seated. All right, how about 1960? Woo! Oh, Mr. Devine told me to go back to the 30s and the 40s. Are there any alumni from the 30s or the 40s? All right, you may be seated. How about the 1960s? Raise your hand, 1960s. All right, thank you. Have a seat. How about the 1970s? Woo! All right, 70s, you can have a seat. How about the 80s? All right, now let's see the 90s. I graduated in 1990. Woo! Representative 2000. All right, there she is. All right, 2010, 2011, 12, on up. All right, thank you. If you are a retired staff member, or if there are any of our previous principals here, can you please stand up at this time? All right, so as we look around the room, we see celebration at its finest. We thank everyone for being here today to celebrate our 150th anniversary. I hope you enjoyed today's program, and thank you so much.
Time to get back on your feet for loyalty. Lyrics are on the back of your program if you forgot them. Wrapped up in that, right? That's an old song borrowed from the University of Illinois. Elgin High School's got a lot of connections there, and we co-opted the song and wrote our own lyrics many decades ago. Our next speaker on the program is coming as a representative of the office of 43rd District, our 43rd District representative in the state of Illinois, Anna Moeller. Please welcome Elsa Hernandez.
Good afternoon. On behalf of State Representative Anna Moeller, the House of Representatives, we are presenting today a resolution. The State of Illinois House of Representatives, 101st General Assembly, House Resolution number 228, offered by Representative Anna Moeller. Whereas Elgin High School is one of the oldest high schools in the state of Illinois and is beloved by educational institution that has continually aspired to be the first of education for all. And whereas, founded in 1969, the school founder, Charles F. Kimball, insisted that no other public interest, whether it be in paving of the streets, building of bridges, the layering of system sewers, if so great importance of this community as the schools of the city, and whereas there were 12 students enrolled in the first class, the present freshman class has 817 students, and the course of study has adapted to fit the changing times from classical to commercial, comprehensive, college preparatory, and career path. And whereas Elgin High School has occupied 4 locations, and the school has resided on Maroon Drive since 1972. In the 1960s, a movement to change the school's name was met with firm resolve on the part of the community to remain the Elgin High School Maroons. And whereas more than 43,000 graduates have made contributions as good neighbors, citizens, scientists, artists, physicians, musicians, athletes, factory workers, entrepreneurs, lawyers, engineers, activists, soldiers, leaders, clerks, inventors, writers, laborers, first responders, philanthropists, builders, and teachers to Elgin and beyond. Therefore, be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the 101st General Assembly of the State of Illinois, we congratulate Elgin High School on the occasion of its 150th anniversary and wish them many more successful years. And in further resolve, this is a suitable copy of resolution to be presented to Elgin High School as a symbol of our esteem and respect. Signed by John Holman, Clerk of the House, and the Honorable Michael J. Madigan, Speaker of the House.
Thankful that the city of Elgin also recognized Elgin High School's 150th earlier this year in January, and Governor Pritzker sent by email his congratulations to us today as well. We are the 3rd oldest high school in the state of Illinois, and one of the top 100 oldest public high schools, as we know, in the country. So there's a lot to celebrate here. Thank you again for that. Besides the program that you received when you came into the auditorium today, you also received music program notes. Elgin High School has a long, proud tradition of being a musical-minded high school. And for example, when we sing the alma mater, and some of you get teary-eyed at the very end of things today, that song was written in 1924 by Elgin High School teachers, all of whom were also Elgin High School graduates, and it's been sung ever since. Today's composition is in that same tradition. An Elgin High School teacher has composed an extraordinary piece of music that welcomes us to think about a pivotal year, that was really remarkable in American history. Please consider the program notes. It is also, listening to this piece of music, an interesting introduction to our next speaker, Hal Getzelman, who's come up from Houston. 1969, consider your program notes and enjoy.
For we be in a decade of hope and fear, in an age of both knowledge and ignorance. The greater our knowledge increases, the greater our ignorance unfolds.
Inspired when you first came. I hope that turned your day around. What a pull to the heart and mind. Some of you might be wondering, why are we celebrating the lunar landing from '69 in Elgin High School's 150th? Do we have something to do with that? Somebody might be able to argue that we do, but I would like to really use the music, as Mr. Sanchez did, to celebrate the title, From Struggle to the Stars. Isn't that descriptive of most of our experience in high school? Except for you straight A students who never struggled. Come on, struggling, but not just ending in struggle. Struggle to the stars. So many of our graduates have gone on to be such good people and to achieve such great things. And that's certainly worth celebrating. And that song helps me do that. It helps me celebrate our current students and especially our band director and his creativity and his contribution to today's celebration. Hal Getzelman had just finished his freshman year, I believe, the summer after we put a man on the moon. And as I've read his story, his interest at an early age was sparked by the school district, by our observatory left over from the Watch Factor days. And it changed his perspective, his life. Went on to a distinguished career in the United States Air Force and with NASA. He's got a very special presentation all the way from outer space to make today. Hal Getzelman.
Wow, I've had the opportunity to introduce the leader of Japan, the Chancellor of Germany, and the Premier of Canada, and I don't think any of those got quite the welcome that the band did for us today. So I was looking in the program today, and I'm class of '76, so I guess that means I'm old school, and most of my kids would certainly agree with that characterization, that I am old school. The presentation we're going to make today, 3 people were involved in that: Astronaut Scott Tingle, Chandler Swan, and myself, and I have to say my part was the least significant of that. And looking in the program, there's a few terms that you might not be familiar with, so I'll go over those. After I left here, I went to the Air Force Academy for 4 years. I went to pilot training, became a fighter pilot. I was in the 1st Gulf War flying F-15s. I came back, I was an instructor pilot and retired, and then got a job down at the Johnson Space Center, working in the crew office as one of their support engineers. A few years later, I applied and was accepted as one of the first non-astronauts to be a capsule communicator, and that's commonly known as Capcom. For those of you of that era of mine, you may have seen Apollo 13 or Apollo 11, and in Apollo 13 they make that famous Houston, we have a problem. And then Houston responds, go ahead. Well, I'm the person that says, go ahead. The Capcom is a person sitting on the flight control team, listening to all the conversations between all the engineers and their backgrounds, and tries to take the technical jargon and digest it, and then put it into concise statements that we can talk the crew on orbit so they can solve the problem or remedy it. I remember one of my most memorable things, and one of the things I got quoted on the internet for probably the most, was when I told them that our telemetry has detected that the toilet no longer works and you'll have to put the out of service sign on and go down to the Russian segment and use their toilet. So let me talk a little bit about the International Space Station, because this is where the lapel pin was flown. The The first element of the space station, the functional cargo block, flew in 1998. And 2 years later, in 2000, November 2nd, 2000, we put our first crew of 1 astronaut and 2 cosmonauts on board. And since that time, there has been a human living off the planet on the International Space Station ever since. There's been 230 folks who have visited the station from 18 countries. The station orbits every 90 minutes around the globe, traveling at 17,100 miles per hour at an altitude of 250 miles. The station, with its solar panels, is over the size of a football field, including the end zones. The 8 solar arrays on the U.S. segment produce between 75 and 90 kilowatts of power. The total mass of the station is 925,000 pounds. Almost 1 million pounds was lifted to orbit on 42 assembly missions. 37 of those were U.S., mostly shuttle missions, and 5 Russian heavy boosters that put their elements into space. We have conducted over 205 spacewalks to help construct the space station, and now we've exceeded 2,400 research investigations on the space station. A little bit about my friend, Captain Scott Tingle of the United States Navy. He grew up in Randolph, Massachusetts. He got a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering from Southeast Massachusetts. He earned his master's degree from Purdue University, also in Mechanical Engineering. Following graduation, he had 3 years of employment with the Aerospace Corporation, a think tank out in California. In 1991, he joined the U.S. Navy, and in 1993, he earned his Naval Aviator wings. He has served on several deployments in the Pacific and the Arabian Gulf, flying the F-18 Hornet. In 1998, he attended Navy Test Pilot School, and in 2000, he joined Group 20, the 20th astronaut class, and his first flight into space was on December 17th in 2017 from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. He was a member of the Expedition 54 and 55 team, and he served 168 days on orbit on the International Space Station. Overall, he has flown over 4,500 hours in 51 aircraft. He's done 750 carrier landings and 54 combat missions. I know he would like to be here today, but he has a very busy schedule, so I will make the presentation if Chandler will come up here. I have a picture of Scott, the lapel pin, if he would like to read that description.
The lapel pin was flown for Chandler Swan. Unfortunately, I wanted to be Elgin High School, but aboard the International Space Station during Expeditions 54 and 55, in appreciation for your incredible support during this mission. Expedition 54 and 55 crew members, Anton, pronounced the Russian name, Scott Tingle, and Japanese Asian man, I believe, that I'm not going to try to pronounce that either, launched aboard Soyuz MS-07 on December 17th, 2017 at 1:21 a.m. Central Standard Time from the Baikonur Cosmodrome and returned to the steppes of Kazakhstan on June 3rd, 2018 at 7:39 a.m. Central Standard Time. The Soyuz MS-07 crew flew in space for 168 days, orbiting the Earth 2,688 times at an altitude of 250 statute miles, traveling 71,203,354 miles at 17,500 miles per hour. Signed, Scott E. Kimball, Captain, U.S. Navy, NASA Astronaut. Let me tell you just a little bit about this. So this is basically a 3-year process, literally. 3 years ago, I got in touch with Mr. Getzelman, gave me the name of Scott, whom I wrote a letter to and asked him if it would be possible to send something up. Mr. Gelson said it would be, it had to be something really small. I had received his lapel pin from Mrs. Fortner and sent it down to him literally 3 years ago. I was told it would take probably at least 2 years before I would get it back. 2 years went by, I wondered, gee, did it ever make it down there? Did it get lost in the mail? Had no idea until one day, last September or October, I think it was, I went out to the mailbox and there was a manila envelope, the return address that said NASA. I was so excited, I can't tell you how excited it was. I am still excited about this because not many things get to go up to the International Space Station. So this is a proud moment for me, and I think a very proud moment for Elgin High School. And I would like to present it to the school. And, this is wow.
I don't know about you, but if I got a school pin back from outer space, I would not donate. I love this place. That would be on my wall. So Chandler, thank you for your generosity, for your forward thinking, for your love of our community. Chandler said it was an error for NASA to write his name instead of Elgin High School. I think they're pretty much synonymous. So thank you again, Chandler, for making something very special. See your program for lyrics.